Please take good notes for my good friend and soon to be your good friend, Mr. Brendan Burchard.
How y'all doing? Good morning. Come on, ladies. Good morning. You're stoked to be here in Vegas. I mean, stoked. Put your hands up if you're stoked to be here. How many of you already learned something that can turn your business around? Yeah, we're going to go there even deeper now. I'm going to talk to you about some of the insights and things that I've learned just in the last 5 years that helped me go from broke in my own life, I'll tell you that story, to having an abundance that I could have never imagined possible. You can see I'm a young guy, but I'm extremely passionate about what I'm going to share with you because I know how it can make the difference in your life. Because at the end of the day, you can walk away here with all the tools and all the strategies and all the new things you have to do. But if you can't get the best out of yourself, I mean, if you can't tap that greatness that's within you already, and I mean really amplify it in the marketplace so that not only are you more productive, but you're more influential, then what's it all for? Right? We all know that the greatest way to get the most amount of impact in the world is to have more influence in the world. You all agree with that, yes? It's like if you're going to succeed, especially in this business, you've got to be great at influence. So I'll share some things we learned along the way. First, I wanted to begin with a story and tell you about my last time in Vegas. Well, not last time, but I guess it was about 4 years back when everything started changing for me. Just a couple little insights that radically transformed everything, from broke to multimillionaire in 18 months. And I'll share that story. It was 1, 2, and 3 distinctions that you'll get. And it had nothing to do with did I have a new system or tool set or set of strategies per se. Because look, we all know that when the system is there, and you just saw a great system being presented, and I think you should take advantage of that. And so many systems and strategies will be here. But remember, it's not often the system. Sometimes it's the user. How many know what I'm talking about? Sometimes it's we can't get out of bed. Sometimes we can't energize ourselves. Sometimes we got all this stuff, but we're like, how come I'm not doing this? Anyone ever been there? You're like, you already know it, but you're like, why am I not doing this? Why am I like, I'm wiped out. Why am I sitting on this couch with these potato chips watching this damn show again? Anyone ever been there? We've got to figure out how do we transfer that? How do we transition that and transform the entire quality of the energy and the productivity you're bringing to the marketplace? This will be a conversation about getting you to the highest levels of performance, getting you to a whole other level of achievement, not by accident, but by design. By design. I learned this first lesson, I guess now I'm just doing the math in my head. This was 5 years ago, right here in Nevada. I came down here for a bachelor party with a bunch of buddies, and you can see already what we are about to go do. And I will share a couple things with you you'll learn from me. One, you know, I'm an adventurer at heart in some ways, but I hate heights. So already, I'll never forget, we land in Vegas, they put us in this bus, and we go out in the middle of the desert somewhere. And I remember we pull up to this place, and what we have is there's this barn. I see this barn where the plane is parked, right? We're about to go to skydiving. Then I see the plane in the middle, and then a bar over here. And we pull up, and I'm like, that's so weird. There's a bar right next to it. I'm like, I'm not getting out of this bus until I see which building the pilot walks out of, you know? It's like, what are we doing here? And we go in, we sit down, and they start giving you the instruction. Anyone ever jump out of a plane before just so I could see? Okay, I got some crazy brothers and sisters in here. And I remember we get in there, and they start telling you all the things you're supposed to do. I'm terrified. I mean, I can't even hear what they're telling me to do. And so they're giving you the checklist, and they tell you how to walk through it and what to expect and everything. I'm just like, this is stupid, guys. Why do I have to do this? I don't want to do this. I'm freaking out. And I just kind of tune out a little bit. We go, and this is about before we get on the plane, and you can already see my friends, they're having just a grand old time. They're laughing, having a good time, and I'm looking over like, what the are we about to do? Are you kidding me? And we get up in this plane, and I'll never forget. You get in the plane, and you'll know this from my friends who've skydived before, right? When you get in the plane, it's kind of like this little beater plane, you know? And it's usually got a big hole cut in the back where you're going to jump out later. So you go up, and you start climbing up in this thing, and it's terribly loud because there's a hole in the back of the plane. So it's like, and I remember I think we got about here, and that's the fakest smile I've ever given because I think we're about 5,000, 6,000 feet in the air. You go 13,000 feet up. 13,000 feet up. We get up here, and I remember I'm watching down the row, and there's two benches on either. There's a bench on my side, a bench on the other side, and all my buddies are chatting with their guides because the guy to the right of me in this picture, he's about to be strapped to me in a few minutes, and he's going to be he's got my guide, right? We're jumping out tandem, they call it. So he's strapped to me, and we're going to jump out together. Is the idea. So I see my friends talking to their guides, and they're having just an awesome, awesome time. My guy's not really talking to me. He's kind of stoic. And I'm trying to chit-chat, nothing. I mean, it's like a cold prospect or something, right? You know how that feels? It sucks. And I'm trying to have a conversation with them, nothing. And finally I say, hey, man, what am I supposed to do? And he says, oh, weren't you listening? I go, no, I was kind of listening, but I said, I'm kind of concerned. And it started getting really loud as we got higher. He doesn't answer me. I'm like, dude, what am I supposed to do? He's like, he's just sitting there. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? He's just sitting there. I said, what am I supposed to do? He goes, yeah, you'll be okay, man. And he said it like he was high. And I was like, hey, man, I'm freaking. I totally started freaking out. He starts laughing. He's like, no, it's going to be okay. Hey, man, look, easy. It's real easy. 5,000, pull. 5,000, pull. And what he's motioning towards is this big wristwatch called an altimeter. And it shows you how high in the air you are. And he's showing you, when you hit 5,000, reach back, pull to deploy the chute, and that will save your life, hopefully. And I was like, okay, that's easy. 5,000 pull, 5,000 pull. I'm pretty confident about this. I'm like, no problem. Okay, 5,000 pull. Yeah, no, man, I can do that, no problem. And all of a sudden, the plane gets up to where it's about to go, and all of a sudden, it goes. And I look, and on the other side, my friends on the other side of the bench, they start sliding down. Just watching your friends fall to their death. And I'm like, I start freaking out. The plane goes, he goes, next time we turn, we go. I'm like, no. He goes, we're going. I'm like, I don't know, man. He said, come on, get yourself up. You're ready to go. I'm like, oh, my God. So sure enough, it starts sliding down. The plane starts sliding this way, and now I'm going towards the door, sliding down. But, I know what to do in these situations. I've been through the seminars. We start sliding down. I'm like, yes, 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 I know, yes, yes. We get down there. I'm a gorilla. I'm ready to go till we get to the door. He grabs me, and I remember getting to the door, and he goes like this. He goes, woof, and I go, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even see my friends. He goes, 1. I go, no. He goes, 2. I go, no. He goes, 3. He throws me out of this thing. I don't know why I'm grabbing on this. I'm like, ah! And look at Buddha back there. He's all, ain't no thing. And man, you are falling. Look at me. I love this picture. You can see me like screaming through my legs. He's all strapped up on me. Looks like I pooped my pants. And man, you are falling. 200 miles an hour, you are falling. And I remember this feeling. It's like I was screaming so loud. I was like, ah! And I remember screaming so loud, I'm thinking dogs on the ground are bleeding out their ears. It's such a high octave. But of course, you don't hear yourself scream, really, because what you hear is the wind. It's like, shh. Remember anyone who jumped out of the plane? Remember how loud it was? It's like it throws you off. It's so loud. And we're falling down, and I mean 200 miles an hour, and then something goes wrong. Can you see? Let me zoom in. See it now? 1, the hair is being ripped from my body, which is wrong, people. But 2nd, the little strap on my goggle snaps. Not a big deal, unless you're falling 200 miles an hour. Because I remember like, ah! Poof! Oh, wow, what was that? Ah! Poof! Oh, and then at 200 miles an hour, this thing catches wind. It's like, ah! Poof! Oh, God! I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, and I forget what I'm supposed to do. And all of a sudden, Buddha, the nice guy, he starts pointing towards the ground like, dude, do something, or you are going to hit that. But look at me, I'm just screaming, ah, I don't know. So he reaches around, grabs my hand, and goes to show me, like, hey, pay attention to your altimeter. But my hand catches wind, and it goes, poof. Nearly knocks me out cold at 200 miles. Like, poof. I'm like, oh my God, why did you hit me in the face, man? What's going on? He grabs the end, poof, hits me twice again. And you see me, I like, oh my God, I reached back. I'm like, I got it. I reached back to pull this thing, and it's like everything. It's like in this business, and it's like in everything. They get you all hyped up to jump out and do it, but they never tell you how hard it's gonna be. Because they didn't tell me this part. When you pull this thing, I will never forget. You pull this thing, and what happens, the thing deploys. You're falling horizontally at 200 miles an hour. When this snaps, it snaps you up, and I remember it goes, when I pulled this thing, it went, and I remember, I don't know if you can see the look of surprise on my face, but I remember my leg go, it went over my head, and it came back down. And I remember as it was happening, like slow motion, I was like, I didn't know I could do that. And I'll never forget, it's like if they gave like a 30-second, they didn't give me a 30-second commercial. If they gave me a 30-second commercial, how freaked out this was, how crazy this was, it would have been like this. It would be like, okay, here's what's gonna happen. Okay, go up in there, meet a nice guy. Okay, 30, 5,000, pull. 5,000, pull. Okay, I'm ready, 5,000, pull. No! Yes, I can do this. 1, no! 2, no! 3, no! Oh! Sure is beautiful up here, man. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And then you float suddenly down. And I remember we getting down there, and right before we landed, the guy's like, hey, lift your legs. I was like, why? He goes, so you don't break them. I was like, oh, good. And we landed, and I remember we hit the ground. I was like, oh, thank God. And all of a sudden, my friends come over. They landed first. And they all come over with their guides, and they're all laughing at me. And they're like, we could hear you screaming from down here. And then we start tracking, and we're having this good conversation. And the guy comes over to me. I'll never forget. My guy comes over to me because he disappeared while we're all talking. He comes back over, and he says, hey, come over here for a second, kid. I said, okay. So I come over, and he says, tell me, what is it you do? I was like, well, I'm like a motivational guy. And he goes, oh. Well, let me tell you something, motivational guy. I don't know about your business and how it's going and everything, but let me tell you something. Might help you. He says, when we were preparing you for this and telling you everything you need to do, you were kind of checked out because you're fear. And in our lives, a lot of times, when someone tells us something we need to hear, we're checked out. We don't know we're checked out because of our fears, but we're checked out. And he says, so here's what I want you to do. From now on, the rest of your business, for the rest of your life, here's what I want you to do. Next time you go to do something, look, I've jumped out of this plane, he says, 1,100 times. And I was telling you everything to do. You couldn't hear it. You weren't listening. You weren't paying attention. So now, when you jumped into it, you were in trouble. Had you listened, had you taken notes, had you not been so fearful, then this ride would have been much better, and you wouldn't have had to scream like a baby the entire way down. But I remember a second later, they snapped this picture after you told me that, and I go, got it. For whatever reason, it stuck. It was like my friends call this the hero shot. It was like, I just jumped out of a plane. But the lesson wasn't jumping out of a plane, facing my fears. The lesson came afterwards when someone said, look, in everything you do, someone has already figured it out. Why are you jumping in with no gear? Why are you jumping in with not having listened to everything you have to do first? How many of you have ever jumped into a business before and you feel like you're screaming the entire time? Yeah, don't want to admit that, do you? Right? But that's where it comes from. It comes from you got this fear. Someone told you the path. Someone told you the plan. But somehow you couldn't get past that. And it's hard to acknowledge it and be truthful about it. And that's why I start with a silly story like that. But we all have to do it. Because how many of you have a huge ambition for this work you're about to go into? How many of you have a bigger ambition for your business right now than you've ever had? You better have that right now. Because you know what happened? A lot of people got really kicked when the economy came down. They didn't see it coming. They weren't prepared for it. And they got kicked, and it felt horrible. And they suffered through it. They struggled through it. I know many of us in this room have done this, right? And what happened is when that struggle hit, it felt horrible. Well, you know what feels worse? As this thing turns, and it's turning, as it turns and it starts to rise, this economy, as it starts to rise, if we don't demand the best of ourselves and rise with it, you know what feels worse than going down? When everyone else goes up and you don't. How many know what I'm talking about? Like, if you don't figure out a way to get the best out of yourself now, look, this economy goes up, you will be left behind, like a time in which you've never been left behind. I know it sounds silly from a guy of my generation to share that with you, but I will share with you, this change is different. This moment is different. There's going to be such a radical transition in wealth and such a dramatic gap that's going to be created because so many people, and this is historic, you can see this, every time, after one of these economies, every time, the people who in the next 3 to 5 years hit their stride of performance, they rise with it. And that gap of those who don't is so significant, it takes 2 generations to catch up. 2. This is not like this is not some theory of mine. This is proven from the last several times that the economy has done this. 2 generations to catch up. So when I talk about this, I'm this passionate about it because you owe it to your family, you owe it to your kids, not to be down here still, even though I know so many people have struggled through to figure it out. Believe me, I get that like you can't believe, because I've had a dream too. I've had a huge ambition in my life to help and serve as many people as possible, but I didn't know how. You know, I didn't come from anything. You know, here's where I grew up. This is my hometown in Butte, Montana, where I grew up. Have we got any Montanans in the room? All right. Well, you all escaped. Good for you. That's all right. I love Montana. I do. And it's my heart and soul. But I grew up in an old Irish mining town that had been economically depressed almost a century. The thoughts about wealth, the thoughts about possibility were so limited, I never knew anything. But, you know, this was when I went back in college. I never knew that we grew up with nothing. Our house was falling apart all the time, you can see. I mean, that pillar was barely holding it up. But you know what? I was blessed too, because while we grew up with nothing, we grew up with everything because my parents loved. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? It's like we had nothing. I remember one time the heat went out in Montana, and when the heat goes out in the winter in Montana, you're in trouble. We're talking 20 below wind chill factor. And the heat goes out, and my parents can't afford to fix the heater for 2 weeks. Dire situation, life and death. My mom, she says, okay, this is where we're at. She sets up our camping tent in the living room, throws in all the sleeping bags, a bunch of parkas, all the blankets. And for 2 weeks, us little kids, we're camping in the living room. And she's cooking dinner on the Bunsen burners because a week later, the electricity goes out. And us kids, though, we're walking to school, we're camping. We're bragging all the kids, we're camping. We had no idea this dire situation was going on. So we had nothing, but because my parents were resourceful and they figured out a way, we had everything. How do you know what I'm talking about now? And that sort of resourcefulness, no matter where you're coming from, that inventiveness, that new way to look at things, that new way to get the best out of yourself, no matter your circumstances, that's going to change your reality more than any system or any tool that you have. It's you. It's you. And I had to learn that too, because years later, here I am. This is 5 years ago today. 5 years ago today. As in this month. I shouldn't be, not this exact day. 5 years ago this month. I'm sitting there. I had gone through bankruptcy. I'd started my first business. Someone filed a frivolous lawsuit. I didn't know how to deal with it. Went into bankruptcy protection. Had to leave the place that I was living and move in with my then girlfriend. And we had nothing. Nothing. This tiny apartment in San Francisco. And you know the rents in San Francisco. Tiny ass apartment. There's no place for a desk, so I got my mom's 3-legged fold-out table she used to use for sewing room. And I got a laptop that I have 2 more months with until I got to give it back to the company that I used to work for. Now, I got nothing. My bed becomes the place where I'm storing all my bills and my paperwork and everything because it's so small. One night, Denise walks into the room, And I remember it was late at night. I'm trying to I'm like, there must be a way to have more influence. There must be a way to produce something that's going to generate my wealth. I mean, have you ever sat there and you're like, there must be a way? Anyone? Like, you know it. It's frustrating. You're like, it's friggin' there. Other people are doing it. And when you're in financial straits, and I don't know where you are, but when I was there, it was like, it's anger, it's this bitterness. It's like, there must be a friggin' way. How are these people friggin' doing? I don't know about you, but when it hurts, that's where you're at. That's where you live. You're just like, God, there must be. She walks in, and she goes and she crawls under the bed. And I remember she crawls under the covers, and I thought it was funny. She crawls under the covers, trying not to disturb what was my desk, trying not to disturb all the papers. And I look over, and I see my woman sleeping under the weight of my bills and my problems that I can't figure out. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, not only must there be a way, I've got to change it. I've got to find it. I can't have this anymore. I cannot have this anymore. And in that moment, I came to what we call the first high performance truth. This is the moment in which everything will change. It's such a simple statement. It's such a simple thing. But when you get it, and it's there, and it lives within you, everything shifts. You will never be more productive, more influential, more healthy, more wealthy in your life than the moment you get the high performance truth. And here's what it is. Only two things change your life. Either something new comes into your life, or something new comes out of you. That was it. I'm sitting there going, I'm not going to win the lottery. I'm not going to have a bunch of cash show up at the door and fix this situation. This is my woman. She's under the weight of my bills, my problems, my inability to produce, my inability to influence, my inability to generate wealth. It's on me now. And I didn't say it beaten. I said it boldly. It was like, it's on me now. Would you do me a favor with your own boldness within you, wherever you are in your life right now? Would you raise your hand and say it with strength in your body? Say, it's on me now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's on me now. If you say it like, it's on me, you're screwed in this economy. If you say it with boldness one more time, it's on me now. If that lives in you and you know the only thing that's going to change your life is something new comes out of you. You don't need something new. You can't win the lottery. It's you demand something more of yourself that's so driven by a desire to take care of your family. So driven by a desire to do something grander than yourself in life. So driven by something that says, I'm going to generate new amounts of abundance for me, my family, my friends, everybody around me. When that lives in you, that was the first time I ever even thought about money in my life. It was never even on my radar, and I thought, I've got to figure this out. Not because I needed accumulation, but because I wanted better for my family. That was it. It was like that thing to fight for, you know? We got to have that thing to fight for. And as soon as you have that thing to fight for, you realize you're the hero in your own story now. You're the hero in your own story, and no one else is going to show up to save the village. The village is on fire, and you have to stand up. The dragons are coming. Someone's going to have to fight. In this economy, it's going to continue to get challenging, and then it will rise. And you either rise with that mountaintop because you got so much boldness in you, only because you decided. Only because you decided. Because this moment, here in this room, you said, I'm going to march out those doors, and I'm going to kick some ass again. How many of you there with me? Say yes. Yes. You got to be there. It is the critical thing. It's not some type of a hype-up motivation. It's a motivation driven by an ambition to care for your family, to fight for something larger than yourself. And when you connect with that, then you desire to bring more out of yourself. That was the first lesson I learned. When I learned that lesson, I also learned this. I began a 16-year study when I was 19 years old to figure out how to turn my life around. I was in a bad place back then, too. I never figured it out really until 5 years ago what it was, though, that made the difference for others. What it was that was making the difference is this concept called high performance. It's such a silly phrase in some ways, but it's very different than peak performance, which I'll share with you in a moment, too. High performance is what you are after. This, if you're ever going to generate more wealth and success, it only comes from these things. And I shared this with you after 16 years of study in psychology, neuroscience, high potentials, and high performance studies. This is what it is. And I can share with you, as you watch this and you see this, watch what happens when we break this thing down for you. And we'll teach this today, right? How do you get heightened and sustained? What's the word? Heightened and what? And what? Yeah. This is the difference between high performance and peak performance. Peak performance, look, we can get you jazzed, right? I can stand here and fluff you all day and get you excited about something. That's peak. You get the best peak state, but what's the definition of a peak? On the other side is always a what? A valley, a drop. You get to the peak, you drop. That's what a peak is, right? The challenge is we can get ourselves there, and everybody in this room has been at peak at some point in your life. The goal isn't the peak. I'd rather work with you to get you to the point where you plateau up at a very high level of energy and production and courage and productivity and influence in your life. And then we kick it up a little more, and it stays. And then we kick it up a little more, and it stays and stays. And in a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're friggin' unstoppable because it wasn't a one-time hit. How many know what I'm talking about? Like, we've got to get you to a level that is so heightened and sustained that everybody else around you, all your competitors or your peers, are like, where did you come from? That's when you know you've made it. It's like, everyone's like, where did you come from? They don't see the amount of toil and struggle and fight that you put in. But boy, when you do put it in, everything puts into gear. So let's break this down. There's a couple of components here, aren't there? And these are what you're after in life. The first piece is a heightened and sustained level of clarity. Clarity. The number one reason people never hit high potential, meaning their highest levels of achievement, performance, wealth, abundance, influence in the world, is they're not clear about who they really are and what they're really after and what they're really fighting for and what their life is really going to be about. And many of you know that too. I know I'm preaching to the choir in so many ways. We're all successful. You would not be a successful person if you're in this room and that demonstrates the fact that you're already successful. Everybody in this room is successful because you know how many hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands heard about this who didn't come? But you decided, I'm raising my hand here. I'm committing to lifelong mastery. I'm committing to excellence. I'm committing to figure this out. And that level of commitment is what will make you extraordinarily successful. We just have to sustain it. We just have to sustain it. But you're here because you're seeking more clarity. Is this true? It's the number one thing we all want. It's the number one roadblock to a better life. Either you're not clear about yourself, clear about where to go, clear about how to proceed. But when you hit total clarity, it's like, how many of you had that moment in your life where there was like an enlightened moment, like an aha moment where things open and you're like, oh. Anyone ever had that? Is that amazing? We want that to be every day. That when you get that opening in your life, and there's white space now because you know where to go. When all the other opportunities bounce against you, it's cool because you know where you're going. You know who you are, you know what your life is about, you know how to proceed. See, I'm blessed right now, as you'll see in a moment. I get more opportunities thrown at me because of all the things we do in the major media or because of what we accomplish in our businesses. And along that path, what I've figured out is how not to get distracted. Here's something you should know. Did you know the average American watches 4 hours of television a day? The average American, 4 hours of television a day. So they did this really interesting study. They said, okay, 4 hours of television a day. What does that equate to the average adult lifespan? So they said, okay, in the Western culture, the average adult lifespan is 70-something. Let's do the math. They figured out if an average American watches 4 hours a day over their lifespan, at the end of their life, that would have equated 13 years in front of the television. 13 years, by the way, 24/7. So 4 hours of television a day equates to 13 years of lost life. Then they said, let's extrapolate that, assuming you're worth $200 a day. How many of you are worth $200 a day? $200 a day. How many of you are worth way more than $200 a day? Raise your hands, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody in this room is worth more than, but they said, let's say $200 a day, $20 an hour, 10 hours a day. Let's just start there. Here's what they found. Over 13 years, that's over $1 million. Invested at less than a compound of 5, It's over $2 million over the adult lifespan. Now, some people say, so what, Brendan? You know, they get their drink of water. They say, what's up, man? I don't watch 4 hours of television a day. I'm good. I go 4 hours of television. Television is just the medium. The problem is distraction. And I bet everybody in this room, if you're willing to be honest, you could find, 4 hours a day. There's probably 4 hours a day I'm distracted. I get lost. You know, I call it browser blackout. You know what I'm talking about? When you go into your browser and you kind of lose your place, and 3 hours later you're like, what happened to me? I'm the only one? So you go into browser blackout, or worse, we don't know how to manage our days, so we're distracted. And you know what you're usually distracted by? Other people. And this is what I became, famous for on the speaking circuit, on the blog, in the blogosphere, I guess, is when they started quoting me on this quote. I said, look, most people, one of the reasons they don't have clarity or productivity in their life is because what they end up doing is they get up and they go check their inbox. That's their day. Their day is built around the inbox. The inbox is nothing but a convenient organizing system of other people's agendas. That's all that is. If you go in and you start your day or you guide your day about stuff in inbox, that's other people's agendas. It's what they need from you, what they want from you, what they're desiring from you. We've got to start your day way more strategically than that, way more thoughtful. Give you a routine of how to work through your day as high performers do. The top CEOs in the world, Olympic athletes, celebrities, my clients, all these people who figure this out, they work through the day differently than the average person. That's why they're producing more. But the only way to get there is you got to have clarity where you're going in the first place. How many follow so far? Let's talk about energy. If you had, I just want to think about this, just for a moment. If you had 20% more energy every day, what would that mean for your relationship with your spouse or your partner? What would that mean for your relationship with your kids if you have them? What would that mean for your business? Just 20% more energy. Now, what if we take it to 50% more energy at a sustained level? If you had half, so 50% more energy than you have now, how many of you feel like you would be unstoppable? See, most people, we don't get taught. How is it we're not taught about energy management in school? How the heck is that? People look at me all the time. They're like, how do you get all this energy? I'm like, oh, well, if you see me, I'm probably usually in that state, like tired. I've been on the road for 6 months. I'm out there. I'm working. I'm producing, generating millions of dollars. You know what? Yeah, sometimes I feel a little tired. But my tired is like, oh, no, are you kidding me? My tired is like 10 times more than the average person's ever had energy. Why? Because that can be architected. Part of understanding success is starting to realize how much you can architect all of it. And when you become the architect of your own destiny, do you feel more in command and control, yes or no? Come on, ladies and gentlemen, yes or no? Yes. Live in that boldness. Say yes. Yes. That's where you live. That level of energy you can peak up in yourself anytime by knowing how to manage your thoughts, your emotions, your physical body, and everything that goes in and out of it is so important. You want to know one way to increase your energy here over the next couple days? Make sure you sleep 7 hours a night. I know it's in Vegas. That's hard. And you need to be drinking 6 liters of water a day, assuming you're working out at some point in your stay here, which I would recommend you do. There's a great gym here. If you haven't seen it, go. It's fantastic, right? It's a great gym. 6 liters of water a day for the person who is averagely active, right? If you're just sitting there, you don't need it. But look, most people, did you know most fatigue and almost all of headaches, like 94% of headaches, are coming from dehydration? Most of us are so incredibly dehydrated, and it's why we can't perform. And you know that word that comes from dehydration, sluggish. When you feel sluggish, you don't need a 5-hour energy speak. What you need is more water and better nutrition and supplementation into your body. How do you follow? And we've got to get you there. Because I'll tell you, nothing sells like energy. Nothing. You can have the right script. You can have the right system. You can have everything. And you go in and your enthusiasm is not like, wow. And it doesn't have to be as over the top as some of the things I do. You don't have to jump out of a plane in front of people. But you've got to have a whole other level of abundant energy. There's nothing more sexy than a confident, buoyant, positive energy in the world, is there? You see that girl walk in the room and she walks there and she's just right there, she's present. You're like, woo! You see that guy who just got it, he's got it under control, he's good, he's buoyant, he's ready, he's got energy, the life of the party. That person outsells everybody. That comes from an energy that's real, and that's what leads us into courage. Courage. My first book called Life's Golden Ticket. This character, it's a parable, it's a story, like Almandino used to write, right? Like Paulo Coelho writes. It's a story about a journey. And what happens is this character, he's been getting kind of guided through this amusement park. And he's been taught by all these other different characters about why his life turned out the way that it did. What they do is at some point, he's not getting it. He's just not getting it. So they decide, you know what? We got to teach this guy a lesson. So they grab him and they throw him in the lion's cage. They put this guy in the lion's cage, and he's like freaked. He has no idea what to do. And there's a lion tamer standing up there. He's got the whip, but he's not doing anything. These animals have just been fed, and they've got blood all over their manes. They've got blood. He's over here freaking out, and all of a sudden he's like, what am I going to do? He's frozen. They start moving towards him figuratively like lions do, and he freaks. He's like, runs over the cage, rattling, like, let me out, let me out, let me out. And he's freaking out, and they start just kind of prowling at him. And he knows they're coming. Let me out, come, do something, let me out. Nothing. All of a sudden he turns back and they're on him. He drops to the ground and they're swatting at him, they're roaring, he's screaming, help, 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 help. They're roaring and all of a sudden they stop and they trot away and he's kind of like freaks out. He's like, what the? And he looks up and he's scared out of his mind, curled up in a ball on the ground, looks over, and now they're walking to the other side of the cage. And they just threw in his fiancée. And this man who is down and freaking, he jumps and he's like, no. And he runs and he gets between the lions and his woman. And he's going, get back. And they just don't stop because they already know he's weak. So they keep coming and they keep coming. And they're literally butting their heads. And he's, get back, you sons of, get back. Drives them out. They turn and trot away. And he's freaked out and he's totally just, his heart and his soul, everything's lit up and strong. And he turns around and she's gone. She was just an image. And he looks up at the lion tamer, and the lion tamer points to where she was and says, something worth fighting for. And when you tap into that thing for you, maybe it's your kids. Maybe it's turning this business around for you. Maybe it's this desire in you, it's so ambitious to have more or be more. When that courage comes into your life, when that is there and it never goes away, how many of you feel like you would accomplish more? Raise your hands. When that is there, I don't care what the economy does to us. I don't care what the world does to us. No, it's not the world doing anything to us anymore. It's how we are responding and how we are guiding our lives. We start to consciously design and architect our own life, our own reality, our own responses, and from that place is where courage continually generates. Like you don't have, let me tell you something about energy and courage. Probably the most important metaphor I've ever shared in my career, and I know that sounds like saying a lot, but listen to this. The power plant does not have energy. It generates energy. You don't have courage. You don't have strength. You don't have energy. You generate it. And soon as you know that's where it's at, when you're generating this stuff, then you don't have to wait on something to come into your life, so now you can be courageous. Oh, I finally made some money, now I'll be courageous. Oh, I finally met the girl, I'll finally be courageous. Oh, I finally got this, I'll be No, you go, boom, decision time. And you show up in a different way because now you know you're cultivating it. Courage is not something you have, you create it by choice. How many follow? This is your time to do that. Regardless of what you're doing in your life right now, if we can't get you more energized and more courageous, all the tool sets don't mean a damn thing. And I know people don't like when I say that, but isn't it true? It's like we've got to get you there again. And you deserve to be there. That's the high performance promise. That's what I teach and train people to do. And that is where you belong. How many of you know you belong at higher levels of energy anyway? How many of you know your family's counting on that? See, when I got that, that was everything. That was everything. Productivity. We got to talk about how much you are producing or not producing. Look, each day is a lost day that you are not living or advancing your life fully. It's just another day gone by. And people a lot of times, they confuse some of the teachings that we do because they've seen the celebrities endorsing what we do and they get all excited about it. But then they say, well, that works for them. They got teams, they got all this, they're lucky that it's easier for them to produce. No, it gets harder the more successful you get sometimes. And knowing how to manage your productivity in terms of your daily routines, in terms of managing teams, in terms of understanding outsourcing, in terms of understanding what you should be doing in your business and what you should not, that's a science, that's an understanding of good business that most people never get. We're not taught productivity in school, and yet they're supposed to be gearing us up to go out into the world to produce, to lift the economy in the world. You're just like, why? I mean, know what I'm talking about? You're like, why is the schools not teaching us to be productive? We learn about history, and by the way, I love education. The only two things in the world that will change the world overall, education, entrepreneurship. That's it. That's the secret. So if we know that, then we've got to get you educated on how to be more productive as an entrepreneur. How many of you own your own businesses? Yeah, look around the room. That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. With this number of people in the room, if you produced more, you'd be able to hire more, contribute more to the economy, earn more, make more, and you know what? Live a really fulfilling life. I love looking back at what I've been able to do in the last decade and go, I never thought I'd be able to contribute that much to the world. That's where I want you to live. It's like looking back and going, I never knew I'd be able to contribute that much. But the only way to get you there is these heightened and sustained levels. Now, you know the problems that come into your life when no productivity. $2 million gone, 13 years, a decade of your life lost. What about influence, though? It took me a while to figure out this influence thing. Like, how do you influence not only groups of people, but individuals? Not just how do you get your spouse to do something, though you learn that too, but importantly, how do you get prospects to do something? How do you have ultimate levels of influence and persuasion with them? I'm going to show you a model for that you're going to love here in a few moments. So this is high performance. Soon as you get to the highest levels of these, would your life transform, yes or no? Yeah, and by the way, you can do this with or without me, but I will share with you, I've learned the distinctions in 16 years of study to know how to get this and to sustain it in my own life. Success sometimes comes in uncommon ways. My first book that I wrote out there was a happy accident. My second book was the #1 bestseller. My third book was #1 New York Times, #1 USA Today, and #1 Barnes & Noble, and #1 Amazon, and #1 in every list that they possibly keep. That I started figuring out. Life happens sometimes from happy successes to figuring things out and dialing it in. This week you saw yesterday with The Charge, where I get serious now, #1 on Amazon, #1 on Barnes, or #1 on Barnes & Noble, #2 on Amazon. And you have to understand the context of which we accomplished that. Everybody in the publishing world is talking about it. Why? Because you know what we had to beat out. 50 Shades of Grey, this new series, is selling 440,000 copies a week. A week. It's the biggest phenomenon ever. See, the kids had Harry Potter. The tweens, they had Twilight. Now the moms, the women, they got it kinky sex. And they're sharing it like you can't believe. This series is exploding. It's the new phenomenon. And I got to beat that out, and I had to beat out the Hunger Games series. These are not easy things to accomplish. But the reason I was able to get there is because I knew how to produce more and influence more. Even my smaller audience, I don't have the mass media. I don't have, major organizations, and I have no kinky sex in the book at all. Probably should have added that chapter. But yet I was able to beat those. Why? Understanding influence and how to move. How many of you would know that your business would explode if you knew how to create social movements? Yeah. See, I've studied leadership for 16 years of my life. There's not a leadership book out there. Many of you, if you've studied my work before, I built some of the largest leadership development programs in the world. You go to major organizations and the change management or leadership programs, that was a lot of my influence when I was in my 20s. It was unbelievable. So you go to JCPenney, eBay, Nordstrom, Levi's, Best Buy, Walgreens. I was part of major initiatives there that helped them literally change their business forever, but also start entirely new campaigns and movements. So I got a good look into that. I've studied the greatest leaders of our time, and specifically their communication pattern. That was my master's thesis. In school, I studied what do the greatest leaders of our time know about how to influence other people. And I'll share those insights with you too. But as soon as you realize that, no matter what your business is, people say, well, okay, you do books. I don't do books. It doesn't matter. To do that level of success, I got to know social influence. How many follow? The other thing that I learned along this way is that, stuff is going to happen. So you go back one. Thank you. So in the same amount of time that people know some of our successes, when I started in 2005, 13 publishers said no. 13 publishers said no. How many people are saying no to you way too damn often? Nobody? Well, I guess I am speaking to the choir. We got a lot of successful people here. Yeah, when you figure out how to get people to say yes, will that transition your business forever? That's influence. That's high performance. I emerged from bankruptcy in 2007. In 2009, I lost my dad. And my dad was my best friend. We found out he had leukemia, and from diagnosis to death, 59 days. And this was a guy, he's a huge reason I'm here, because he had so much influence. How many of you had a loved one give you so much influence? They influenced your life dramatically. Dad would always say, you know what? Just, be your best. Be truthful. Be of service to others. Be a good citizen. Treat your family and others with respect. Follow your dreams. And that is why I am where I am. His influence on me. Your influence on your kids will guide them somewhere. Your influence on your spouse will guide him or her somewhere. Your influence on your business right now will guide you, your customers, the world somewhere. Are you being directive about it? He didn't do his influence by accident. He thought about, what do I want to instill in my kids? He consciously designed that by being a good man. In 2011, last year, in April, I had a brain injury. Explains a lot of what you're seeing up here, I'm sure. Knocked me down. In that brain injury time, and it took 6 months to rehab and get just basic attention back. Basic emotional resonance with people. My speed of decision was down. I tested out at the 24th percentile of high school graduates in competency tests. I was hurt. If I didn't know how to continue producing in that amount of time, to manage my own energy, to manage my own ability to be courageous and fight through it no matter what, my business would have gone away. In that same amount of time you see all this happen, we went from 0, bankruptcy, to today, 8 figures. Last year, $12 million. Last year. In 5 years, I built 5 brands at $1 million level or more. In 5 years. And I do not share that brag. I go, it was something I figured out. Some people, you might have written those notes down and said, oh yeah, okay, cool. Heightened, sustained clarity. Got it. Cool, got it. Okay, energy. Yep, great. Courage, productivity, influence. Yeah. No, I got serious about those subjects. I did the work, the depth. I focus on them every day. And that focus is what creates that success, right? That's what clarity is. Clarity is knowing where to go and continual focus on that thing and progressing towards that thing. That's when you know you have clarity. And that led to all these things. Learning how to do marketing, learning how to do sales, learning leadership, learning business. And all of these successes start happening and piling on and piling on. And everyone's going, oh, he must be like, what's his thing? He's got, a wonder kid? Is he rich? Did he come from a rich family? Did he get lucky? The first time we hit $1 million, that first $1.8 million, that was a 5-day marketing promotion. I'll teach you about sales and negotiation, how to do stuff like that. First time we did that was in 5 days. Everyone was talking about it. Like, what? This kid just did $1.8 million in 5 days on the internet. This is, remember, 2010. We have a lot more easy tools today. This is a lot harder. I was coding back then. Now I just fill in forms and hit publish. Then another product launch, then New York Times, then bestseller, then another launch, then another deal, then another launch, then another thing. And people keep going. Remember, this is all in the context of deaths and family, the supposed worst economy that we've seen in a century, the supposed time in which no one is advancing, go from 0 to an 8-figure business. Is this possible, yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. See, if you're like, nah, I don't know, then you are... How many know what I'm talking about? Look, if someone says to you, look at what I've done, look at what's possible, and you're like, it's for them. Do you know what that does? See, every success I've ever seen, I go, that can be modeled. That can be learned. That's a system. That person's figured it out. That person knows what to do. I've got to learn that. I've got to get in it. I've got to follow it. I've got to discipline it. I've got to put it in a routine in my life and rock. How many know what I'm talking about now? That, for you, is the secret. The secret is knowing in your mind, look, if any point in your life you ever go, oh, sure, that person can do it because they have this. Or that person can do this because they know that. That is where you gave your power away in life. To get your power back, when you say, well, I don't have this. When I began, I said, well, I don't know how to do marketing. So I was defeated. I was like, well, I don't know how to do that. I guess I can't have that success. When I changed my life after seeing my woman crawl under my bills, and I knew something new how to come out of me, I go, I don't know, I don't have that, then my job is to go build it. I don't know how to do that, then my job is to go learn how to do that. How many follow? If you don't know it, you don't have it, then your job is to go create it, go learn it. That's your job. Don't see it as something that's disempowering. See it as the path. That's the path. See, every time I hear myself, I don't know how to do that, the second I give my way of power, I don't know how to do that, I quit. No, boom, I step back in my power and go, I don't know how, I can learn. How many of you feel like you could learn anything? Now, that is called the human drive for competence. You will learn about that in the book that you were given, The Charge. The Charge, subtitle is Activating the 10 Human Drives That Make You Feel Alive. There are just 10 things that are controlling your emotional and psychological world. And these are our baseline and forward human drives. One of the baseline drives is competence. If you don't feel competent in life, that relates completely psychologically to your confidence in life, which leads directly to your success. How many of you believe that confidence and success, courage and success are intimately intertwined? Yeah. That's why it's your time to be bold again now. To be extraordinarily bold again. So when I get bold, then all the success comes in. And the success comes in, and now, you know where success feels good? When you get to give back to your mentors. That's when success is the best. So I get called in to help Tony Robbins with his organization. I get calls, and I get to work with some of the people who really changed my life. Tony changed my life. John Gray wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, one of my great friends. I got to meet him because of what I knew how to do now. David Bach, 13 New York Times bestsellers, whatever it is, the automatic millionaire, many of you know him through that. He's on Today's Show every Friday. That's why I'm going to New York. I'm going for his private wedding tomorrow. You know, Wayne Dyer, he and I toured in Europe, one of the best spirituality teachers of our time. And all of this happened because of high performance. It was that point where I told you where everyone's like, where'd this kid come from? And it wasn't that I had anything or I knew anything. It was I knew how to get the best of myself out when it counted. How many of you feel like it counts right now? We turn the person left or right and say, it's time to be bold. It's time to be bold. Say it again. Say it with strength and courage. It's time to be bold. You can't hit the top echelons without that boldness. Gotten to do a lot of work with Tim Ferriss and do a lot of work with Darren Hardy now. These are my heroes. I'm sharing this because this is where you get to give back. I remember this call. I was like, I can't believe this. I'm walking around my house. Anyone ever read The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho? 165 million books sold worldwide. The most translated author of our time right now. He's still alive. I'm going to see him this summer. And Paulo and I got the worldwide exclusive on his new book, which was a big bestseller this last year. And people kept saying, how did you get that? Well, I didn't get that. That came to me because of the successes I was creating. How many of you know that when success comes in, more opportunities come up? That's why, remember, you got to start the ball rolling. I've gotten to meet these guys and do a lot of cool things with Branson and with Bill. And I remember what's cool about this. And by the way, if you're like, oh, dude, Ray, he's one of those liberal guys. These guys are like flamboyant, crazy liberal dudes. That's okay. I got those guys too. Thank you. This comes from nothing other than high performance. Whatever area you're in, everyone will say, well, it's because you're good at marketing. I'm like, yeah, I can teach you that. You must be good at leadership and influence. Yep, I can teach you that. You must kill it at sales. I know how to teach you that too. But it comes from being able to generate that, not have it. How many of you still with me? Then, this was the best though. That's my mom and my dad. I had this crazy idea to do a motivational seminar in a circus tent. And people are like, what are you, crazy? But my life's golden ticket book took place in a circus tent. So I said, I am going to make that come to life. That's a dream. Your job with your dream is not to let your dream die in the daylight. Many of us lie awake, dreaming, having ambitions for our family, for our friends. We think of things. Tonight, when you lay out and you sleep down, you're going to come up with so many great ideas for yourself, for your business, for your life. Don't let those dreams die tomorrow. Make those dreams come alive, no matter what it takes, no matter the fight or the struggle. That struggle is what makes you successful. And you've got to honor this learning journey you're on. I'm honoring mine. When I was going through my brain injury, I was so frustrated all the time, but I had to honor this is the process, because the process leads to success. The process of figuring out, struggling through, fighting through, being disciplined, that's what gets you here. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Bringing my dad and my mom out on my stage in this big crazy circus tent, 700 people in this huge circus tent. I had to rent out the Mexican National Circus to be able to get the dang tent. And I remember it was just like, we had performers. It was crazy. It was one of the best times. And just getting to have my parents see my dreams come into fruition. I could talk about the $1 million launches all day. I can talk about all our media stuff, all the people I know. Family's what matters. I'm here because my family counts. I wanted to fight for them. I wanted to give them something. I'm here because Denise, in that tiny apartment, all that struggle is 5 years through bankruptcy and brain injury and building this business. That woman who was my girlfriend, who let me move in with her and stayed today, that's my lady. She stayed with me, you know? It's worth the fight. It's worth the demand on yourself. It's why you're here. You're already successful. I just want to get you to a plateau where you keep rising. The way that I do that is through this high-performance coaching and training program. Let me show you the model. Whether or not you end up taking my training program, no problem. But let me show you the model in which you've got to master for yourself to get to those things. Clarity, energy, courage, productivity, influence. To have those, you need to have a model and work it hard and know it and study there. So what I do is this program that I take people through. We take people through an online training and then a live immersive experience. This online training is based on these modules of training. Every week we issue new training. Then we give you a set of tools to go through with it. Then at the end of the week, we all get on the phone and I teach more and I train more and then I take your questions. That's the model. This is what High Performance Academy Master's Course is. The Master's Course covers these 5 things. And again, write these down regardless if the training's right for you. That's cool. But I'll tell you, you want to go deep? Let me show you. This is the model in which allows all of that performance to happen. The first module, the first thing you need to learn no matter what you do, with or without me, is to master your psychology. It's your psychology that's going to generate a tremendous amount of clarity in your life. Now, here's what I learned. This is a distinction for you. This might really help. A lot of people study psychology, but they're unaimed in their study of psychology. They read some self-help books, some spirituality books, but they don't aim themselves. Remember, this is about architecting your life. And I said, well, what's important to understand in psychology? And I've read pretty much every curriculum in the country of their master's courses in psychology. I'm weird like this. I read a book a week for 16 years. I've never missed, ever, even with the brain injury, ever. I'm weird. I love books. How many of you love books? Like, I'm nutty about it. Make that a discipline, a book a week for the rest of your life. Do you know, remember, a lot of your confidence comes from your competence. When you read that much in your genre, you're competent. It's why I get to hang out with Wayne Dyer, because I can have a conversation with him that rocks his world, because I'm well-read and practiced in those areas. So what I have to share with you is this. In your psychology, there's outcomes that you're after, okay? These are the outcomes you're after with your psychology. Number one, you're after clarity. See, a lot of people think, oh, I'll study psychology to get rid of my past. That's not what the tools of psychology are meant to give you total clarity about who you are, where you're going, what your life is about. That's what the tools of psychology should give you. They should also give you courage, tremendous amounts of courage. Why study anything? Some people read self-esteem and they're like, oh, okay, I feel better about myself. I'm like, I don't want you to just feel better. I want you to be courageous again. Turn to the person left and right and say, it's time to be bold. It's time to be bold. You got to master your psychology to do that. You got to master your psychology. You know what else I'll have to master? Is your physiology, your body. Now, people always say, well, Brendan, I'm still trying to lose the 10 pounds I had since high school. I get it. A lot of people struggle with their own physical body. But remember what would happen in your life if we got you to 20 to 50% more energy every day? See, the number one commodity in the world is energy, right? At a commodity level, at the macroeconomic level, energy is the biggest. You look at the biggest companies in the world, they all have a lot to do with energy. And also, did you know those little things, those 5 hours? Did you know they're moving 7 million bottles a week? A week. It's the biggest phenomenon we've seen in retail in history. Billion-dollar company overnight. Little thing. People don't need the thing. Let's stop seeking caffeine and weird elixirs to make us feel energized, and let's find our own internal charge and learn to generate it and cultivate it. Who's with me? Yeah. That is what physiology should give you. Physiology should give you such tremendous energy that no matter what, your energy comes out. No matter what, even when you are ill or sick. Even when you are ill or sick. That your energy allows you to overcome that faster. Sometimes you get a bacteria or virus, that's life, something happens, but guess what? That happens less when your environment is clean, and your recovery is way faster when your environment is clean and strong. How many follow that? So your physiology, people join high performance all the time. They're like, dude, I joined it to lose weight. I'm like, you joined my program to lose weight? Like, you could achieve so much more and have so much more influence and transform your life and your business forever? Yeah, but I lost the weight. I'm happy. I'm like, cool, man. That's all right. I'm cool with that. They're like, I want what you have. I want that energy. I'm like, cool. We'll give you that. Energy is created. It's not something you have. If you feel sluggish right now, it's a complete result of how you're using your mind and your body. And specifically, your energy right now, we could dial in, if we diagnosed it, what you were doing in terms of your movement in the last 35 minutes. And I know it's challenging because you're sitting here listening to me. But your mind is energized. How many of you have an energized mind right now? An engaged brain is a happy brain. So in physiology, we also teach beyond the body, we teach the brain. What do we know about neuroscience from the last 5 years? You know, we've learned more about your brain in the last 3 years than we learned in the last 300. Because our ability now with fMRIs, SPECT scans, and et cetera, to go in the brain and understand what are the hormones and the molecules that are released with certain behaviors, as well as with certain interactions with the body, to know when the brain is happy, not happy, engaged, and engaged. So we'll teach you routines of things to do to also engage your brain, because your brain is part of your physiology. There is not a disconnect between brain and body. The brain is part of the body, right? So it's like, and that's controlling the dashboard of everything you do. So getting that healthy is important. I'm sharing in physiology what I learned with my own brain injury. The top neuroscientists in the world, people that you know by name, like Daniel Amen, who wrote Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. You see him on PBS all the time. He's my great friend. He's the reason you see me on PBS. He came to one of my events. He was like, you got to be on public television. Like, this will change people's lives. And so he connected me there, and that's how it happened for my first public television show last year. The next one rolls out in December based on the book that you have, The Charge. And all of this is sharing some of the brain science that we've learned too. Then we've got to get you at higher levels of productivity, which we've emphasized over and over and over. Even if you have the tools, we've got to help you set up routines about managing your day, but more importantly, managing your life. Productivity is not, hear me say it, people hate it, but it's true. Productivity is not about your day planner. See, what they did is they sold you in the 80s these friggin' little day planners and told you that was productivity. And that's why the world can't get shit done. Forgive my language, that's not productivity. That's a little tool to scroll on. Productivity is learning to manage your agenda and manage others' agendas too. That's what productivity is. It's managing not time. That's those stupid idiots in the 80s who never learned what real productivity is. They learned it from some book and they kept rehashing the same old crap. And it drives me nuts because we have an economy stalled by people think they have to manage time. What we have to manage is energy and agenda. When we manage energy and agenda, both ourselves and others. One guy took High Performance Academy because he goes, Brendan, I have a team. And I want to know how to make them the highest performing team so I can have more time off. Did you know, remember we were talking about outcomes? The outcome of physiology is a healthy brain, body that generate tremendous energy. The outcome of productivity is not to produce more. The outcome of productivity is to give you your life back. The outcome of productivity is freedom. Teach me how to do what you do, Brendan. I have an 8-figure business with 5 people, none of them full-time. How? Knowing productivity secrets to manage agendas and manage teams. That is the secret. I've been brought in to turn around a business as a $1 billion sales arm. I got brought in, I was 26 at the time. And I got brought in, they look at me like, who is this kid? But I'd learned how the largest companies in the world manage change management programs. And understanding how they manage change management programs taught me how to, this concept in productivity that's so important, is leverage. Your income directly right now, it's hard to say this to people, but it is. Your income right now is completely tied to your leverage. How are you leveraging others, as well as your own time and agenda, to make more happen without killing yourself? How many know what I'm talking about? Leverage. So you've got to learn. This is not, like, we'll teach time management in a specific way. We'll cover that for people, but that's like a slice of what productivity really is. I hit my stride because I figured out, oh, productivity is not time management. It's bigger than that. As soon as you figure out it's bigger than that, boom, you're like, whoa, and everyone goes, how did you do all this? It's the number one question I get. I mean, when I get to meet, I even remember asking Bill Clinton a couple questions because I was so curious about how he's doing so much. And the way he talked revealed to me, like, this guy gets it. He understands how to rise above the inbox, the day planner, time management, and make magic happen in the world way beyond himself. That's what productivity is. That's what you're after. This course and this module is worth that alone. Alone. This is the least expensive program I've offered in my entire career. Many of you have been or heard about our programs at $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $35,000, and $45,000 levels. My coaching group pays $65,000 a year. The reason they pay that is because I figured out one thing, the needle movers. Don't teach me basic concepts, Brendan. Teach me the needle movers. Don't teach me basic ideas. Teach me just the ones. Just give me the 2 or 3 moves that move the needle of success. How many know what I'm talking about? It's about the needle mover and knowing what those are. That's why this program has become so powerful. But I want to give these needle movers to everybody. Because most people can't access my $5,000 events. But everybody can access what I'll offer this program for you today. I know that. And the reason that is because I go, look, this economy, I'm good. I don't need anyone in this room to sign up for my stuff. I'm good. I'm coming here because I honor this man who's put together this amazing event. Would you give him a round of applause? I honor this man. Because he emailed, and I went to his site, and I saw how much this man has produced, and that inspired me. I said, I'm there. Because getting around productive people inspires me. How many of it inspires you? How many of you inspired by the people in this room that he brought together for you? Give yourselves a round of applause. It's amazing. It's amazing when you think about it. These people in this room can change your life forever. This presentation can change your life forever. This course can change your life forever. I created it for one specific reason, this last piece, persuasion. I'm going to persuade the world that they can find their higher performance. I'm going to help them get to such levels of clarity and energy and courage and productivity and influence that they never saw coming. And the reason I'm doing it is because the economy came down, and I believe the emotional energy of the world has flatlined. I believe the emotional energy of this world has flatlined, and I know the tools and the strategies to pick it back up again. I know a lot of people in this room have struggled, and I know how to get you back up here again. I do it whether it's working and helping Tony return his business around, or helping people at the toppest level in every single industry. Quincy Jones, Paula Abdul, Anderson Cooper. These people, as I know, as I interact with them, I learn from them, I coach, I provide everything I can to help mentoring, because right now, we've got to turn this around. So this is not a $5,000 program. And I preface that because I know people wonder, well, what is the price and everything. I'll get to that, but that's not what this is about. This is about you being part of that rising class, because that will be the separation. There will be a new class that rises with the economy, and there will be people who are left behind, and they will be left behind for 2 generations by historical studies. There's no friggin' way that I'm going to know what I know in my life and not make sure everybody around me can access it, and everybody around me rises with that. Because I got a family, and I care about my family. And I know people in this room do too. There is no way you're going to be left there. There's just friggin' no way. How many of you feel that in your mind? Like, there's no friggin' way. There's just, you can't allow that to happen. And again, you on your own or with me, these are the things you've got to figure out. And you better tie it to this last module that we teach. Purpose. People say, Brendan, why are you doing all this? Why don't you just go retire on a Caribbean island somewhere? You're killing it online. You know? While I've been doing this today, on this stage, I probably made $30,000 or $40,000 online of something that I set up 7 months ago. Right? That happens pretty much every hour, all the time. Why? Because I understood how to do all this. But then why do I come out and do this? Because you and I hadn't met before. And I don't know how you all feel about fate, but I'm a huge fate guy. I'm like, every person I've met in my life, I met them at the right time. How many follow that? It's like, I don't know why. And my whole life, my whole practice, and one of the reasons I'm successful, and one of the things you will learn about influence and working with your prospects is this. When you meet somebody, here's what I want you to do. When someone walks up to you, say to yourself, this person carries an important message from the universe. When you stop seeing people as prospects, but you see in their eyes the divine, now you have influence. Influence doesn't come from ninja mind tricks with people. You know what it comes from? Acknowledging them, seeing their humanity, and helping them on their journey. And when they feel that and they sense that from you, that's when you get your sales. That's when you will get people to enroll in your programs. That's when you'll be able to train and help and build your downlines and everybody you sponsor. That's where it comes from. People need to feel like you give a damn about their humanity and who they are and their journey and their families. And when they sense that, the rest of influence is simple. It's blocking and tackling of basic ideas of making sure you raise their ambitions for who they are. Great sales is not about getting someone to do something. It's about getting them to be something. And when you understand that distinction, you stop trying to persuade people to do something, and you persuade them to be something. Your job, if you're going to build a real sponsorship, something where there's a real downline that kills it, a business that kills it, is to help other people around you raise their ambitions for their own standards and their own contributions to the world. When you understand that, now you have what we call influence. How many follow what I'm talking about? This is what I teach. This is what I train. This is my passion. This is why I'm here. I'm connected to purpose. That's why I'm here. I'm here because this man I was impressed by. And he impressed me with who was coming to the room. And I go, fate hasn't interacted with us yet. I don't know this audience yet. I don't know this group yet. I want to be here. Because right now, we all need to be here. This is our time to be here right now. This is the time to show up. The world demands it. Forget the economy. The world is in crux. The world is in its place on a pivot point right now that many believe is dangerous. I believe it's the greatest opportunity we have ever seen to shift our culture, to build our businesses, to change the world. And that's why I created this program specifically. Because I know what we can do. How many of you, your life would totally change if you just had more clarity? Just clarity. What about energy? How many of you can look to the person left and right and know if they were more courageous that they would crush it? They'd crush it. You know what I want for you? I know it sounds silly. I know it sounds silly, and it is a little self-serving in a part, but you know what I want for you? Not because anything I inspired you by, but because of the tools and the training I gave you. I want you to walk into your house every day. Every day. Now, some of you might work at home and your spouse goes out, or your partner, or your kids. But you know what I want? I want this sense and feeling for you that when you walk into your house, you say, hey, honey, or whoever, hey, come over here. Yeah, guess what? I crushed it today. How many of you want that? That's what I want. I don't want that once. I don't want it to be like, oh, I finally got a deal. Oh, we can celebrate. Oh, thank God. Something new came into my life. Something new came in. I can finally. No, I want you not to wait for something. You to demand the best of yourself. So you walk in every day and you're like, I crushed it every day. You want to talk about courage? When you crush it every day, will you be more courageous? Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. Crush it every day. That's my goal. People are like, what's the goal for the program? I'm like, I know I want to change their lives. I know I want to transform them. I don't want to give them a personal transformation experience. I know I want them to get the highest levels of personal achievement and abundance and wealth. At the same time, I just want to give them a feeling. I want to give them a feeling. I want to give them a feeling that they're so connected to why they're doing what they're doing, that they're so connected that other people feel it. I want to give them influence, but I want them to walk in their house again and go, I crushed it. Because how would that transform America right now? We need this economy and this time and place where people are walking in and they're crushing it. If we can all start crushing it, the economy starts crushing it. The world changes. More abundance is in every part of the world if each of us demands the best of ourselves and crushes it. The way I help that is with a high-performance course. So here's what it is. This is a 5-week master's course. If you like the concepts we talked about here, or you like the energy, imagine this for 5 weeks. I mean, if you're lifted now, or you feel stronger now, I got to tell you, this is kindergarten where we're going to take you up there. This is the master's course. And the master's course, it's simple. Everyone can go through it. What you do, when you sign up today, you're going to receive login information and password. Every single week, I'll email you when the videos are ready and the tools. You go into our online members area, and there'll be a video or set of videos and a set of tools. You'll watch the videos, you'll download the tools, and you'll start mastering your psychology, your physiology, your productivity, your persuasion, your purpose. And at the end of that week, then we all hop on the phone. And I go through a coaching course. And it's every Friday. And don't worry if you can't make it on the phone because I record every one of them. And I put it back in your members area. So every single week, you're getting training at the beginning of the week and a call at the end of the week. It's in there for life. Imagine you're having a bad day, or you're frustrated, or you're distracted. You can go log in, watch a couple videos, and get back on track. How invaluable is that? All I wanted in my life was a coach who could motivate me, but not just motivate me, but help me really reach high performance. Not just motivate me once in a while, but make me a better human and contributor. I never had that, so I built the course for that. So it's 5 weeks. You get this online members area. In our members area, we have a Q&A forum. It's called the Ask Brendan Anything forum. You can post any question. You see me do $1 million launch? How did you do it? I answer. Me, not my trainers. Because this is where my total focus is. And many of you saw it, we just started class. Class starts this next Monday. The first set is released. That's why I decided to come during this time. It totally lines up with our next class. Our next class is not until 2013. So if you want this, you get it this weekend and only here. Otherwise, you wait for another year, and you show up at another year going, oh, I started motivated, I finished at a slow trot. Or you say, man, I crushed it. So here's what the program is. We've thrown in all these killer bonuses because we want to push people way over the top. All my high-performance programs have always been $1,000 level, right? Always. So we're giving people who enroll in our 5-week course right now, and only right now, we're giving them our DVD core course. This is a $1,000 core course, over 4 days of training in each of these areas that will blow your mind. If you learn something in 90 minutes, imagine what happens with 14 DVDs. How many of you would like your kids to hear this message? So this DVDs, you can put it in your TV, have them watch it. Give it to your team, have them watch it. You've been at a bad day, throw it. That's why we decided to give you, outside of the online environment where you got to be connected to an internet and stream and watch it, we said, let's give it to them, too. So you get this course. It's a totally different course. We call it our core program. We sell it online. You see it all the time for $1,000. I'm giving you that today free. Then, after your 5 weeks, every single month for 12 months, I'm going to keep sending you training once a month. Because remember, high performance is about sustained. It's about what? Sustained. So I got to sustain it. So we're going to keep you going the entire year. Imagine if you had a message like this every month of your life, where you would be. Every month of your life. So for 12 months, you get this for free. People sign up for it online. It's $804, and it's basic, but I know it's going to keep you advancing after we teach you the 5-week master's course, and you get the core program. We also went freaked out. Many of you just saw this launch. We freaked out because I was like, look, America needs to figure this out. So I threw in my 2 best programs of business, too. So we threw in a couple things. One, our 2 tickets to our live High Performance Academy event. How many of you met some impressive people here in this room this weekend? Raise your hands up. Yeah. You meet extraordinary human beings at live events. And guess what would happen if you went to an event where everybody there is a high potential and focus on high performance? You want to change your life? Get around a different peer set. This puts you in a room with 1,000 people who raised their hand and said, I want high performance. I want to hit my stride and clarity and courage and energy. And you can come for free. You can bring your spouse or your partner for free. It's a $1,000 ticket each. You get 2. Then we just added the influence course because our business community friends started asking for it. I know this is what you want and need too. Influence for what you're doing especially is the most important component of high performance. Once you master yourself, we have to teach you to influence the minds, the hearts, the souls, the agendas of other people. This is a very advanced sales, negotiation, and leadership training. Your income right now is directly tied to your sales. Is this true? Is it just the one guy? How many people know your income's tied to your sales? So you got to learn advanced sales principles. You've got to learn advanced negotiation principles. You've got to learn how to lead people in influence. This is a $5,000 course. I'm giving it away today, free. Because I know this course is also online, so you take it at your own pace. And again, you can access it anytime you like. So we walk you through every single module of the influence course as well. It's $5,000, 5-week training. We added the back end of this thing. So you go through the main 5-week training, then we start the influence course. You get the DVD course. After you go through the influence course, we don't stop there because this is about high performance. Now, if any of you are like, well, this sounds like a lot of training. It is. But isn't that what you need right now, yes or no? Look, you're jumping into something. I'm the guy who's saying, let's go tandem. Let's go tandem. Let me strap to your back. Let me tell you when to pull the cord. Let me tell you when to lift the legs. Let me tell you how to manage this crazy thing you're about to do. I'm trying to coach you at that. That's why we call it a coaching program. And that's why I wanted to give you this as well. The Business Accelerator Crash Course. This is about advanced profit and business building principles. This is about, okay, you might be building something, but how did I go from 0 to 100,000? How do you go from 100,000 to 1 million? How do you go from 1 million to 2 to 5 to 10? The only way you will ever generate millions of dollars in your entire life is to understand the key profit drivers of every business, no matter what your business is. I have a woman who went through this program. She owns a cupcake store. Cupcakes. She kills it now. Kills it. I've had people go through this. This program is the best concepts that I know about building a business from every genre. So no matter what, it applies to you. It's a $5,000 course. You get it today free. So here's what this course is. The 5-week master's course online is $997. That's what the master's course is. That's what you're signing up for today to get more clarity, more energy, more courage, more productivity, more influence. And this course, regardless if you go with me or not, this course is going to get you to be that bold level. Turn the person left and right and say, it's time to be bold. Oh, don't say it weak. Say, it's time to be bold. The economy demands it. Your family is waiting for it. I know you are too. That's why we throw so much more into it. So $997 for the course, but you get along free with it. Our DVD course at $1,000, $997 to be exact. You get 12 months free of High Performance Academy monthly for $804. You get 2 tickets to High Performance Academy live seminar for $2,000, 1994 to be exact. You get the Influence course, a $5,000 course. You get the Business Accelerator crash course, $5,000. That's $14,792 of my best training, retail. Retail. You get it today because we start class Monday, so you have to sign up for it today. You get all of it for that same price of the 5-week course, $997. 3 payments of $399. You have me in your ear telling you every multi-million-dollar insight that I know, not only to get the best out of yourself, but to grow your business. You have access to me in the online area to ask me any questions. It's $35,000 for a company to hire me to come and talk for 45 minutes. You're having me 5-week, 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 an entire year. You can access me for a year. I go in there every single week, and I reply to every single question, personally, every single week. You can have that for a year, ladies and gentlemen. A year. So if I hope I've moved you up here in some way or another to find your boldness, to know that it's about clarity, to know that inside you lives a courage, and the power plant doesn't have the energy, it generates the energy. For 3 payments of $399, we can get you the highest levels of performance you've ever had or experienced. I mean, you know, people are going out and they're buying like a computer for that. Look, let me hard code your brain and your life for lifelong success, right? That's the trade-off. You can get a new computer, or for 3 payments, we finance you. 3 payments for $399, we can hard code you for success and energy and courage, productivity and influence at levels you never knew existed. You owe it to your family, you owe it to your business to hit high performance. If I can serve on that route for you, I'm honored to be here, and this time and this fate was worthwhile. To sign up for this program, you'll be going back to these tables back there, and you'll sign up for the program, 3 payments of $399, and I will get you to a level of performance, productivity, and abundance you never knew was there. I never knew this was here. And then I realized either something new comes in and I get lucky, or something new comes out of me. Let me help you get something new out of you. You can sign up again back at these tables. I'll be back there taking questions, signing books, happy to hang out for a while with you. I know that many of you have so many opportunities in life. If I can serve on that journey for you to create greater abundance and greater strength and greater courage and contribute more, come back, sign up. I'd love to serve you in that process and give you all of this training for practically nothing today. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for your energy and your courage. Go out and change this world for you and your family. Thanks, everybody. I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you.